It's Wednesday, the 15th of January 2025. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 big stories to get through in 5 minutes. Let's go with story number 1. Good news for renters, with the pace of growth in monthly payments across the capital cities now flat.
Long time coming. In fact, back in 2023, rents rose nationally by 8%. Last year, they're up by about 5%. But in the December quarter, in the capital cities, they were flat. Now, in the regions, they're up a little over 1%. But it is finally some good news for renters. Basically, the rental market is past peak growth. Good news for renters, maybe not so much for investors. The bad news in this, rents are actually up 36% nationally since COVID. That's about $9,000 a year. That's a lot of money that renters have to find. Another way of looking at it, according to CoreLogic, who provided the figures, rent spending is now 33% of pre-tax income. That's based on the median rent. 33%. That's the highest level since figures started being compiled back in 2006. It's meant people are living at home for longer. There are larger share households now, unwinding that COVID trend that actually went the other way. The most recent easing, probably because of a reduction in net migration. That's at the demand side. On the supply side, there is more stock on the market.
Sean, on story number 2, consumer sentiment has fallen for a second successive month, but purchasing intentions suggest upside in 2025.
So it's a bit of a mixed story from the Westpac Melbourne Institute survey. When it was done, the Aussie dollar had fallen, and that certainly hurt confidence. We've now had 35 months, almost 3 years, of negative consumer sentiment. However, when you look beyond the top line numbers, some of the components are actually improving. It looks like consumer sentiment is picking up somewhat. Consumer sentiment, of course, encourages spending. That's good news for the economy. We've had a few retailers come out in the past few days. City Chic yesterday, Myer, Premier Investments on Monday. They haven't reported strong sales growth. So good news on that front in terms of consumer sentiment encouraging spending is good news for the economy.
Story number 3, Sean, I find this story absolutely fascinating. Qantas and South African Airways have delayed or rerouted flights between Australia and Southern Africa as a result of the re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere of Elon Musk's SpaceX rockets.
Pretty amazing. They re-enter the Earth's atmosphere around the southern Indian Ocean. That's because it is the most remote part of the world. Problem, of course, is that South African Airlines and Qantas, in our case, they're flying that route. Qantas, in the last few days, have had to delay flights by up to 6 hours because they fear the impact of flying debris. They told the Australian, Qantas this is, that the last few days, the flight's been delayed from advice from the US government. Now, they've gone to SpaceX, Qantas has gone to SpaceX and said, can you refine when these re-entries will occur? That way we don't have to stuff up our flight planning. Though SpaceX and the US government has explained that this isn't an exact science, it depends on the weather and stuff like that. As a result, passengers, well, they're the ones that are being delayed on their flights from South Africa to Sydney or to Australia.
Sean, a serious story for story number 4, heading overseas for this one. US mediators have sent the final draft of a ceasefire proposal to Israel and Hamas amid a breakthrough in talks over a deal to end the war in Gaza and secure the release of hostages.
Media is reporting it's the closest the two sides have been to reaching an agreement. Joe Biden, the US president, said, we are at the brink. Certainly sounds promising. The deal appears to have been brokered by the US, Egypt and Qatar. A little bit of Trump diplomacy, and this has probably helped. He has said previously that if this isn't sorted out by the time he's inaugurated, which is 20th of January, there'll be all hell to pay. I don't think anyone knows what that actually means, and maybe that has encouraged some sides, Hamas specifically, to come to the table.
All right, change of pace to finish on here. Story number 5, Sean. Big news, big day for burger lovers. Wendy's, the world's 3rd largest food chain, is launching in Australia this morning.
First local store in 40 years, wants to take on McDonald's, Subway, the rest of the quick service restaurant sector. Wendy's, or the rights to Wendy's, is owned by a crowd called the Flynn Group. They're a US-based organisation. Flynn Group has thousands of Wendy's, Arby's, Applebee's and Taco Bell stores in the US. It also owns Pizza Hut in Australia, so it knows the local market. Wendy's is launching in Surfers Paradise this morning, famous for its square burger patties and the red-headed girl in its advertisement. She's a red-headed girl, freckles and pigtails. Apparently she is the founder's daughter, or based on the founder's daughter. Wendy's has been here, closed its 11 stores back in early 1980, still has a bit to catch up. In terms of revenue, McDonald's is way ahead of the rest of the quick service restaurant community. Hungry Jack's comes in number 2, Yum, which is KFC, number 3, Domino's, and then Subway.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It is Wednesday, the 15th of January, 2025. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.